Hello and welcome to the NRLW Weekly Podcast, all thanks to Light and Easy and Harvey Norman. I'm Marley Silva, your resident NRLW superfan, and as always, I am joined by a legend of the game, Ruan Sims. On the show today, we're joined by the Broncos breakout star in Kerry Johnson. We also talk about some movements that are already happening in the NRLW competition for the future, including one coach stepping down, one big name moving to the Warriors, light and easy learning, what caught my sideline eye, your questions, and of course, our tips and preview for round 10. Oh my goodness, round 10 of the NRLW. How did we get here so quickly? Rue, but to kick things off, as always, it's time for the NRLW Weekly Medal, where each week you award your team and player of the round.
Yeah, thanks, Marley. Well, it was a big round of football. Obviously, the two top dogs were very, very strong in their performances with resounding victories against their opposition. But I've gone something slightly different this week. I've gone for the Young Gun Dragons, the win up against the Warriors. Obviously, big call, dropping Racine McGregor, and it paid off this week. And obviously that's going to have its own implications into the future, which I'm sure we'll get to at another stage. But yeah, the Young Gun Dragons, they get my vote for team of the round this week. And player of the round, there were so many incredible individual performances this week. I thought Jess Sturgis was incredible for the Roosters. I thought Brooke Anderson was fantastic for the Sharks. I felt like Zahara Temra yet again had an incredible game for the Raiders. And it's actually tied this week for me. It is actually Zahara Temra and Tamika Upton. I thought both of them were incredible performances, and they both had a huge amount of impact on the outcome for their teams. And obviously the Raiders finally breaking that hoodoo at home, and it was off the boot of Zahara. So yeah, it's a shared medal this week. We'll have to split that one down the middle.
Pretty fair. With how great these competitors are, it is so hard to split them. I think it was a particular highlight to see some golden points in the NRLW as well. Just shows how tight the teams are as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's get stuck into some of these headlines. I think a big one that's come out this week is that Brett Kamali, the head coach of the Tigers, the inaugural head coach of their NRLW side, will be stepping down at the completion of the 2025 season. He was appointed back in 2023 and this is a decision that he's made on his own to step away. So I can't say I'm that surprised. I think if you've been in a role for a couple of years, and I mean, he's such a dedicated, passionate coach, but yeah, what's your perspective there, Rue? Is this sort of realising he's kind of done everything he possibly can?
Yeah, well, I think he's been very clear when he came out and spoke about it that he was not going to seek to renew his contract there. And that he felt like it was the right time for him to step aside and allow somebody else to step into that role. And I think it takes a lot of guts and a lot of, self-reflection to be able to come to that conclusion. I think that's the most important thing. And he's done so much for that club, helping get it all up and running, making sure their pathways are running. There's obviously a new head of women's football there in Charmaine Stevenson, and they'll just be looking to see what happens next. But I think it'll be really interesting watch this space, who they get into that role. Obviously, Greg Inglis is there as an assistant coach, whether he's interested in just being a mentor and an assistant, and then they get a new head coach in and they see how I'm just interested to see how it rolls. Obviously, there's some incredible female coaches that are available for that as well, if they were interested in putting their hands up. But yeah, it'll be, it's a shame, obviously, because he's been there since the start for them. But again, like I said, I think it takes a lot of regulation and self-understanding to go, it's time for me to step aside and let someone else in this role.
I think he's built a great culture there as well. You can see how much...
and a good young group.
Yeah.
Really good young group.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing, like it's hard now because they're so young, but it'll bloom in 2 to 3 years.
For sure. Yeah, exciting times for the future of the Tigers. Another big piece of news has been that Gail Broughton will be joining the Warriors in 2026. Obviously, she is from New Zealand. This is not super surprising again that she would want to go home. She's got a son and a partner. Makes a lot of sense. But yeah, what did you think of this one?
Well, it's been spoken about for a long time that this is what was happening. And then obviously with the Broncos' interest in Jessie Southwell, now I think people will understand why they are interested in Jessie. However, I don't think Jessie is a 6 if she goes up there, but that's a whole other conversation, which we've already touched on. But yeah, it's obviously it's a shame for the Broncos because Gail has been a good servant for them, obviously, and she's now back playing great football after she had that back injury. I think it's also it's fantastic for the Warriors to have her go over there. And I sort of feel like if Maliepo stays at the Warriors as well, if she doesn't go back to rugby full time, if she stays, her and Gail Broughton, I feel like Maliepo will go to 7 and Gail will stay at 6. And I feel like that is an incredible halves pairing. And then obviously you have Uppy Nichols at fullback. Peiko has been playing quite well at 9 along with Turua Quedley. I think that is looking like a really good spine for them for next year. So exciting.
Yeah,
exciting.
Super exciting.
And yeah, more will happen, especially because we have a lot of Kiwi players that play NRLW who previously had signed with Australian clubs because the Warriors were no longer in there. And a lot of them do have that in their contract where they are able to negotiate with the Warriors when they came back into the competition. And yeah, I think it's great for the Warriors.
Yeah.
It's good for the comp too.
I think we're going to see quite a few player movements in this off season, which is exciting again. Like, of course, fans of certain clubs will always be upset when some of their huge players like a Gale move on, but it's really good for the competition when things are kind of shuffled around. So can't wait to see what happens.
It's also really interesting because obviously Ali Brigginshaw retiring after next year as well. And I've been hearing that potentially Tamika Upton might move up into that 6 role. So we'll see how that all pans out. I mean, again, that's what the preseason is for. I think she's a world-class fullback and she's the best fullback in the game. She'd be my fullback for Gillaroos. She'd be my fullback for any team that you pick. But she's that talented. She could do anything. So again, watch this space.
Yes, watch this space. Hey, you know what it's time for now, Roo? It's learning with Light and Easy. From footy players to fans like you, Light and Easy helps everyone to eat well, feel great and save time for the things that matter most. The things like learning more about rugby league, Roo. Those are the things we need more time to do. What are you teaching us today?
Well, this week, obviously because we're not in the studio together, it's hard. I don't want to show footage that makes it hard to explain it to you. But I thought one thing that's been really cool to see this year is we've seen a lot of Golden Point games and we've seen for the first time ever our first ever draw up at Magic Round between the Bulldogs and the Titans. So I thought I might touch on setting up for the field goal.
Amazing.
When things are tied. So we saw this weekend, obviously, the Sharks did it brilliantly. And I'm not just saying that because they're my team I work with. But, I mean, you've got to admit, 45 seconds into a Golden Point and you snap a field goal to win. That's pretty great setup. And then the Raiders as well, a couple of minutes into their Golden Point, Zahara Temra again sets up and snaps. So the biggest thing when you're setting up for a field goal, if you have a right foot kicker, the ball has to be sort of on the left post or just outside the left post to be able to give the right foot kicker enough of an open shot, at it going over. So if you can have that set up, that play the ball as close to that left post as possible is usually a really good setup if you have a right foot kicker. And obviously, conversely, if it's a left foot, then you'd have it set up on the right post. And then most importantly, whoever is taking that run for the pre-field goal kick cannot be inside the 10 metres, has to be outside the 10 metres. And the reason for that is because as soon as you dig deep into that 10-metre zone, the defence have less distance to actually travel to try and charge down a kick. So that's why that's really important, to make sure that you're outside the 10. If you can sort of have it around that 15 to 20 metres, that's kind of perfect, that sort of thing, because the defence has to be back that full 10 metres. The referee will be really Like they'll be checking absolutely everything there. So around that area is really good, making sure it's around the left post for a right foot kicker. And the key thing, this is what the Sharks did really, really well, kicked early. So they didn't kick on 5. So when you're kicking on 5, the defence are pretty ready for it. They're expecting you to kick it. And if you can kick it on 4 or even 3, if it's earlier, or even earlier, however you get there, that's ideal because the markers may not be as on the ball, so they won't chase as hard out of marker. That's really important. So, yeah, you just got to make sure. And then whoever's running that up, it has to be a quick play the ball. And I remember I was watching the Sharks, that set that they took off the kickoff, they just rolled down, and you could tell they just stayed in that middle channel and they just drew the defence of the Knights in, and then they kicked on 4 so that the markers couldn't get out and chase as quickly as they would have wanted to because they weren't expecting it. And also you got to fight for that quick play the ball. I think I might have already said that 5 times, but it's so important. You want to fight for the ground. You don't want to fight for time. So you don't want to be standing in the tackle. You want to just get quickly to ground, get up, play the ball, and then off you go. So that's what's really important when you're looking to set up for that field goal. And and we saw 2 really good snaps. I mean, from the Raiders' perspective, their one was on 5th, but Zahara still, cool as a cucumber, just snapped it straight over. And before it even went over, she just turned around and went, yep. Like, she's such a cool cat, man. Like, I wish I could be as chill as she is on the field. But she was outstanding. So, yeah, that's a little bit of what is a setup, what a setup looks like when you're aiming for a field goal.
And at this time of the year, as we get to finals, you want to be geared up, ready for a golden point, because there's every chance we're going to see that a couple more times. It was so great to see 2. I loved seeing 2 golden points in the one round. I think that's it was so great. Thank you so much for explaining that, Rue, because I think we will be seeing more of that in the weeks to come. You are listening to the NRLW Weekly Podcast with Marley Silver and Ruan Sims. Thanks to Light and Easy and Harvey Norman. We'll be right back after the break. And welcome to the NRLW Weekly Podcast to Kerry Johnson. Kerry, it is so exciting to be able to speak to you because I feel like it's absolutely crazy to say you are a rookie in our NRLW competition. The way that you've made your mark this year with the Bronx, how many tries you've got under your belt already. You just look right at home. So we're really excited to talk to you. And I guess I want to start there. This being your first season, I mean, are you surprised with how well things have gone? Has it exceeded your expectations, or was this all part of the plan when you started?
No, this is beyond what I thought was going to happen. I really didn't think I thought I was just coming in to, like, I guess, fill in a gap for someone. I didn't actually expect to be playing, and I'm so grateful that I am. But yeah, this is way beyond what I thought I could do. So, yeah.
Well, Kerry, I'd probably like to go back a little bit before even coming into preseason. How did the approach come for you? Like, what was it like? How did the Broncos come to you, and what were your thoughts around the idea of moving into that NRLW space?
It was actually during the Blues season over in New Zealand, and my agent, he just told me that they're looking for like an outside back. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll give it a try. And then so he got a hold of them, and they just gave me like a video call, and then they're like, oh, okay. And so then about 2 weeks later, I signed with them, and yeah, that's how it became this.
That's such an organic way for things to happen. So you have been in the Super Rugby competition before this. What was your expectation when it comes to NRLW? What had you heard about it? Or, there's other rugby converts who've come to NRLW. Were you watching what their pathways would look like?
Yeah, I was watching actually Rosie Kelly, who plays for the Cowboys this year, and so she's actually been messaging me because I was asking her, I was like, oh my gosh, this looks so cool, how is it? And she's like, it is so fun. And so I was like, oh, I want to be a part of that.
And being able to join the Broncos, I mean, they're such an incredible club. Have you learned so much coming into that system?
Yeah, I literally didn't even know how to, like, what the rules were or anything, and so it's pretty good to have an experienced team because they all just helped me, and I was like, what does this mean? And sometimes still in the game, like, the ref will like call something, I'll look at Millie and I'll be like, what was that for?
That's actually crazy to think that you like it makes sense that of course there's going to be rules that you didn't know, but you have picked it up so seamlessly. Playing with the likes of, we call her one of the goats of NRLW in Ali Brigginshaw. I mean, and you've also got so many other experienced players, as you were saying. What do you think some of the biggest lessons that you've learnt so far, aside from those rules, but in your own game, what is it that you've learnt?
I think just to back myself and what I can do. A lot of the girls, they've been telling me, just back yourself. And so I've been trying to do that, and I hope it's paying off. But yeah.
I think you've been doing it very successfully there, Kerry. I think I'm not alone in thinking that. But being able to play and finish off on that left edge has such great attacking flair. How has that been? Just having those incredible players inside. You touched on Mele, obviously. Gal Broughton is your half that sits on that side. But then you've got Tamika Upton, one of the absolute best in the game, can chime in there as well. What's it like playing with that calibre of athletes?
It's good. They literally just tell me what I need to do, and I'll just try to do that. And they just, I guess, get the ball in my hands. And yeah, but no, they're so good. They know exactly what they need to do and how to attack a team. So yeah.
We're very much coming to the pointy end of the competition now, and the Broncos are locked in for finals, which is so exciting. You get to not only have your first season at NRLW, but your first taste of finals. And this weekend will be particularly special for you as you get to go back home to Aotearoa to play against the Warriors. How are you feeling in the lead up to that?
No, I'm so excited. I can't wait just to go back, be back in New Zealand, be around all my family. I'm so excited. But no, I know this week will be a bit challenging, especially coming up to finals. We're wanting to, I guess, keep playing the best footy we can.
Yeah, and going back to New Zealand, this will be the first time that all of your family over there actually get to watch you play rugby league live. That is going to be an incredible atmosphere. So how many people will get down there? Is it at Waikato this weekend? Yeah. They're going to get a big crowd there?
Yep, they're all making posters, got those big heads of me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I want you to come anymore. But no, there's a big group of them coming down.
They've got to have the big heads. That's also my favourite things to see in the crowd because, we know exactly where your family's sitting if we could just see the big head of you.
Yeah.
It does look like you guys are sitting in such a good position, really sharp stuff. Like the only sort of hurdle has been that loss against the Roosters, and it looks very likely that the two of you will kind of finish 1 and 2 in this competition. What is it? What's been the message from your coach, Scott Prince, in terms of the final kind of tweaks and things before we get to the finals?
Well, he's always stay in the grind, just they're going to be tied to, and we just need to keep pushing, and someone will fall, and just hopefully it'll be the other team.
You also said that you had been texting with Rosie Kelly before you came across. Have you been texting? Have there been any other rugby girls who've been texting you now? Like, hey, how do I get a start?
Oh, not really. A couple of them have just asked oh, how is it at the Bronx? Is it cool? And I was like, yeah, it's so fun. This comp is so good. So hopefully, maybe some of them will come joining over as well, but I have no idea.
And what are you most looking forward to in this final series? Is it coming up against the Roosters again? Is it just the feel around finals? Is there anything in particular that you can sort of put your finger on?
I think just making it to the finals. I get nervous still before every game. So I think coming up into this final, it's going to be even more nerve-wracking for me. But yeah, going into that is pretty big for me.
Thank you so much for your time, Kerry. I think the last question that I have to ask you on behalf of what I'm sure is many eager Broncos fans is, considering how much fun you seem to have had this first NRLW season, are we going to see you in this competition for a little while longer?
Well, I definitely hope so. I definitely want to stay. But yeah, I've signed again for next year, and yeah, so we'll see how that goes next year.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kerry. It's been great to hear how much you're enjoying your time in the NRLW. It certainly looks like that on the field. And good luck going home this weekend for that game. And we look forward to seeing your family with their big cutouts of your head in the crowd and for the rest of the season.
Cool. Thank you.
Welcome back to the NRLW Weekly Podcast with our super fan, Marley Silva, and myself, Ruwan Sims. Thanks to Light and Easy and Harvey Norman. Bonus gift cards with selected TVs, fridges, and more now at Harvey Norman. Now, you might like Light and Easy Learning, Marley, but one of my favourite segments is Marley's What Caught My Sideline Eye.
Thank you so much, Rue. Well, what caught my sideline eye this round was during the Dragons and Warriors game, but I believe this was happening a little bit earlier in the day as well. The one and only Brad Fittler, good old Freddie, had a new system he was talking about all through the game. It was like a demerit point system. Like you have a driver's license on the field and the coach killing moves that you do when it's a dropped ball. There were a couple of dropped balls. There was a couple of silly errors, ill discipline. He was talking about how many demerit points these players were losing. And I just thought it was so funny. We were talking about double demerits, like during I think a special round, like a magic round or something. It should be double demerits or a high, an important game in the finals game or whatever. And I just thought, I think we could bring that demerit point system into our lives as commentators as well. I think we could hand out demerits. I think that, Gus Gould and all of his Gus-isms and he's a footballer and things like that, or rugby league's a funny game. I mean, you almost don't want to give. They're like the anti-demerit points. Like they're just like the beautiful cliches.
You're getting
They're brownie points.
Those ones.
But
like
I've started thinking
nuggets of gold.
Yes, and I couldn't stop laughing at Freddie. How many times after he explained what the demerit points were, he was just handing them out so much.
Willy-nilly.
I just thought they were brilliant, and I love it. I love it, and I'm going to bring it back for us, and I could probably give myself demerit points on the pod, like when I've thrown to things that I jumped too early, or when I stuff things up. So I love it. I'm all about it. That was what caught my sideline eye on the weekend, and I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was very funny. It did start earlier in the day because you know how we always talk about Joey's revokes people's kicking license? That's how it came about, and it just morphed into a demerit point system.
Yes.
And then it's going to be like the license will be 13 points. and then it's just up to whoever's calling that game to decide how many points for whatever infraction it is.
And then what, are you on a good behaviour bond or whatever after, or one golden point
exactly.
you can't
Or
lose?
I think if you burn all 13 in one game, there might be some dramas. Maybe sitting down the following week.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, I really enjoyed that too. I thought that was very good.
It was it was great. Very clever from Freddie there. All right, let's get stuck into the round 10 tips. Oh my goodness. Only this weekend plus 2 more. That's the end of the regular season. Already 3 or 4 teams have been locked in. I think that the 4 of the 6 teams in the finals have been locked in. So those final 2 spots will be hard fought for. On Friday, we got some Friday footy for NRLW at Allianz. It'll be a big crowd too because the men's will follow straight after. It'll be massive. It's the Roosters and the Raiders.
Yeah, this will be a nice double header for all Roosters fans. Obviously, the women are playing the Raiders, and there is that very, very much highlight of the year, the local derby in the men's, Roosters Rabbitohs. But we'll stick to the women at the moment, and I think this is going to be a really great test for the Raiders because they've had some good wins in a row. They've scored a lot of points. So now to test that up against the likes of the Roosters, I think is going to be key. Obviously, no Isabel Kelly. Fortunately, it is not a fractured jaw for her. Yeah. It's an oral fracture, which looks bad enough as it is. Yeah. However, the staff there are saying that she's going to be back for finals. Amazing. Which is incredible if she is, and she's pretty tough cookie. So we're sending her all of our best and hope she's back soon because, I believe she was leading the Dally M's before it went dark, before it went behind closed doors. And she just puts in such great performances week in, week out, and she's their captain. However, that does see Olivia Koenig get the opportunity to captain the Roosters in a home game as well. So that's pretty exciting, and she cleaned up at the Brad Fittler Awards night on Monday night as well.
What hasn't she won? Can I just ask that? What hasn't she won?
Just the Golden Boot. Just the Golden Boot, and I feel like that may be this year.
Yeah, wow.
Just the way she's going. But look, this is going to be a really big ask for the Raiders, and it's for me, the Roosters will win this one, but I think it is a good test for the Raiders just to see where they are mentally
For sure.
as well.
All right. And then we go to...
And they're still technically in the hunt for finals, the Raiders.
Which is amazing, isn't it? Like, that's incredible. On Saturday, Dragons and Cowboys.
Yeah.
This new
This
look
will be a
young
great game.
Dragons just look a little bit different, don't they?
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. And home game for the Dragons. Again, like you spoke about, it is the young guns. Still no Ray McGregor in the lineup. So that's still very interesting. I still think Ray adds so much to whatever team she plays in. And we don't really know what the full story is. I'm sure there's more happening behind the scenes. But I know if I know anything about Ray, she just wants her team to do well. So she'll be supporting them no matter what happens. And also really cool to see Rosie Kelly back in the lineup this week for the Cowboys. I think her and Kira Dibb will actually be they'll play off well against each other. I think Kira obviously will take up the bulk of the kicking. And Rosie has a great running game, but she's also got a good little kick as well. And we haven't seen her for a while.
Yeah.
So it'd be great to see her back playing at this level. It is going to be a really big ask for the young Dragons, especially Abigail Roach is back in for the Cowboys. And the Cowboys, locked in for finals, which is pretty exciting for them. Their first ever finals campaign is already under lock. So they'll be wanting to make sure that they continue to build into that. I think the Cowboys will get the job done away from home, but the Dragons, they will push them all the way in this game.
Great. And then after that, out at the Core Stadium, the first of another double header. I mean, this feels like the Marley Silver Cup. As a shy girl who loves her doggies, this is it. Bulldogs and Sharks. I think the Dogs, obviously, they've really slipped. They've had, I mean, is it fitness issues? I don't know. And the Sharks are looking red hot. So I think it's a big task. But you'd hope, especially with the likes of Taylor Preston facing up against her old club, she'll be taking it to another level. Yeah,
well, no, I don't think it's a fitness thing. It's the grind of the competition at this level because they started so fast. And even, I don't know if I said it to you or if you remember me saying it to you. Like, I love the way that the Bulldogs play, that scrappy type of play, but it is hard to maintain throughout a whole year. And it takes a little bit of time to maintain the rage for that long. And you sort of have a look. I mean, the Knights didn't win a game in their first season ever, and then they went on to win 2 premierships. The Warriors have been sort of up and down as well. The Dragons, when they started, were a little bit rocky. And the Sharks, first year for the Sharks, it was very rocky, our first year. So, new teams, it is hard because you just got to understand what it takes to play at this level. And it's a longer competition now. It's going to be longer again. And they will learn so much out of this year, the Bulldogs. I think there's still great signs there, and there's a lot of youth in this side, which will bode really well for the future. I think, however, for this game, I think the Sharks, because they're locked in for finals, and again, they'll be wanting to build and continue to build on what they've been doing all year, they will sort of continue on in that trajectory. And again, we see no Tyler King through that HIA. She was named at 18th this week, so Jada Taylor remains at fullback and Emma Veron at 6. I am really looking forward to seeing the two packs go head-to-head because they're very dominant packs. A lot of ex-Sharks players are in this Bulldogs lineup, so I think it'll be a really great spectacle. I do think the away side will get the job done.
Yes. And then, as we spoke to Kerry Johnson earlier in this episode, the Broncos are heading over to New Zealand to face the Warriors.
Yes, this will be another really good game. And the Warriors back into the fold. Again, it has been a little unsettled for them, but I've seen some really great signs from the Warriors throughout the year. And again, they will continue to build. Gail Broughton up against her future team, and a lot of Kiwis in this Broncos side returning home to play rugby league in New Zealand for the first time is pretty exciting as well. My heart really wants to tip the Warriors for this one. It really does. But I feel like the Broncos, the way that they're playing, the style that they're playing, and just the consistency that they've been showing, I think the Broncos will get the wood over the home side. However, I feel like the crowd is going to be amazing, and they will play a huge role in how the Warriors go.
Absolutely.
And the Warriors will push the Broncos, definitely.
Well, talking about pushing, this next game in Newcastle, Knights and Titans, 5 and 6 on the ladder, really trying to, secure their own spots in their finals positions as well. This is going to be so interesting, Knights and Titans. It does feel like the Knights have shown a lot more kind of strength and dominance than what the Titans have throughout this season, but the Titans are finding their way back. Like, this will be great.
Yeah, well, considering the way the Titans started the season, I think Murph would be really proud of how they've pulled it back and to actually put themselves in the frame for finals. Because, they had a really rocky start, really, really good. And they're missing some strike. I mean, no Jamie Chapman hurts any team. And the Knights, I reckon they will be so disappointed with letting that game slide last week. They had such a dominant start to the game. But then, I mean, both sides last week, errors were really poor. Handling and execution was very poor. And I'm sure that BJ will be addressing that this week with his side. And I would expect in this game that we really see Jesse Southwell step up and own the Knights' field position, the way they play, where they play, like just everything about the game. I feel like she's really going to step up. However, the Titans, that left edge short side with Talia Fuimono has been absolutely fantastic, and they're going to be up against it because Lauren Brown is a class half as well.
For sure.
So, yeah, it's going to be a really, really good game. And again, like you said, they're 5th and 6th, so they're fighting for that finals positions or the last 2 spots in the finals. This might be the game of the round.
Yeah.
This could very well be the game of the round.
I tend to agree.
And I feel like the Knights will get the job done as well because they are at home. But I feel like the Titans are going to be a tough outfit to beat.
And then our final game of the round is the second in a third doubleheader. It is the Eels and the Tigers. They will both be desperate for a win here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, the Tigers came so close last week, and they've been close all year. They haven't been getting blown off the park.
Not at all.
They've been really, really close. So you can see that they're building for something really special. And the Eels, they've had a couple of really good victories as well. There's a few changes to the Eels lineup as well. Fleur Ginn is going to centres, Rosie Beckett to 5'8". Kiana Takarangi is back in the lineup, so Zali Faye is out. And Chloe Jackson onto the starting lineup, which I really like. I like Chloe. I like the way she plays, Chloe Jackson. She's a really exciting young edge back rower. And, I think I feel like they're going to be really hard to beat, especially at home. As a doubleheader with the men's, they'll be playing there. So I feel like the Eels might get the job done over the Tigers. But I would love to see the Tigers just finish on a real high with 2 wins. But it's always a big ask in this competition. But they might get done by the Eels this week.
Nonetheless, it's going to be another great round of NRLW footy. Make sure if you can get to a game, make sure you do, because you just want to be a part of this, be a part of the atmosphere. Otherwise, you can catch every single game live and free on 9 and 9 Now. And thank you, Ru, for your wisdom as always. We are very quickly approaching the end of this season, another incredible season of women's footy, and it's always great to learn from you every single week as we do that.
I don't want it to end though, Marley.
I know.
I felt like I had so much time at the start of the season.
This happens every year.
And now it's almost over.
I swear we talk about this every year. It just goes too quickly.
Oh, I never learn.
And thank you to everyone who is listening and tuning in each week. Make sure you keep sending us your questions and getting involved, because, you're going to blink and go, oh my gosh, there's no more footy. What the heck? You want to be a part of it. So thank you for listening to the NRLW Weekly Podcast with Marley Silva and Ruan Sims. Thanks to Light and Easy and Harvey Norman.